It's time once again for the Maple Grove City Report. I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us, along with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
We are keeping Heidi up here because she has a busy couple days. This comes after National Night Out, which was a grand event in Maple Grove.
Yep, big year.
We will have a chance to talk about that. But also, she's staying awake from a long council meeting, right? It was about 2.5 hours on Monday. And so we have a look at that meeting and also other things coming up in town. Busy summer and going into fall. Let's begin with the meeting from the 5th, about 2.5 hours long, which is unusual for the city of Maple Grove.
Yep.
One item pulled from the consent agenda and a very nice item, a retirement from the fire department. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this is Captain at Station 1, Andy Willenbring. He's been with the department for 17 years, so he's retiring from the fire department. We just really want to thank Andy for his service over those 17 years and particularly in the later years in a leadership role. Congratulations
to Andy. There was one item that was scheduled for the council meeting but will be postponed till October, I understand. A judge from Hennepin County coming.
Yeah.
This is a new type of outreach they're doing. Tell us what we can look forward to.
Yeah, so the Hennepin County District Courts, they're trying to do a little bit more outreach with the communities that they serve. So Judge Ivy Bernhardson had reached out to come out and talk with the City Council and talk about the services that they provide and the work they do on behalf of Hennepin County and our community. Wasn't able to attend due to a family emergency, but it's planned to come in October, so we'll get this one scheduled back up later in the fall.
Great, and we'll recap that when it does happen. Moving on through the meeting, some special business. There was a public hearing related to some new hotels in the area. This is a standard practice that occurs as they move along the process, correct?
Yeah, so we have the Residence Inn and the Spring Hill Suites Arbor Lakes coming online here. They're planning to open probably mid-September or so. This is at the fourth corner of Arbor Lakes in the Village Project at Hemlock and Elm Creek Boulevard. So this was for their 3-2 beer and wine license as well as an off-sale license there. So they're going to have kind of the happy hour in the evenings, and then you'll be able to buy packaged liquor or packaged beer and wine as well on premise. So looking forward to those hotels getting open.
Very good.
Yep.
Another public hearing, maybe a small item, but it goes into a much bigger item, is some of that 610 roadway coming through by Territorial.
Yep.
We have a vacation of a right-of-way, which just clears up some land. Does that be right?
Yeah, so this was really some old right-of-way that was acquired at the time. 610 came through that area, and there was some shifting with 81. So just to clean up some parcel boundaries, some of that old right-of-way area was vacated and allows some of that land to move forward with development in that area.
All right, so those were the public hearings from the night. Moving on to community and economic development, and as usual, this is full of items going on in the city. And the first we mentioned a few times, Boston Scientific. The work continues there. They're moving through the process for another great addition.
Yeah, so this is, they're adding about 107,000 square feet to the east side, kind of towards the freeway there, to the building. Some nice new office spaces, as well as they're adding a new cafeteria and some outdoor seating areas for staff. So really a nice addition, and we're really grateful for their expansion, their continued investment here in Maple Grove. If you go by the site now, you'll see they're doing some work in the parking lot. They're rearranging and adding some additional parking out there as well. But they are looking forward to getting going, and we're just really excited to see them expanding here again.
Great community partner.
Yes.
We have talked a couple times about a new fast food restaurant coming to town. This is up in the Grove area, and this is Taco Bell, and they continue to work out the placement of that business within that area. Tell us what the last steps were.
Yeah, so this is directly kind of just across the street to the east from the hospital, just north of where the Caribou will be. They're doing some site work there now on that corner. So the Taco Bell will be situated just north of that entry road there. And then to the north of Taco Bell, there will be another multi-tenant building. I think there's a dentist planned to go in that building. So we needed to work through kind of traffic in that area. There's a proposal that if traffic starts to be an issue out on Hospital Drive, we would extend a median and kind of move that access point a little bit further to the east. And then they work through kind of some of the drive-through access points in terms of how traffic would flow in and out of the dentist office as well. So I think we got all of those traffic issues addressed, but yeah, a lot of progress continuing up there in the Grove. So this was another addition with this new Taco Bell coming.
Very good. Now let's move you down to the southwest corner of the city for the next development update, and this is Havenwood. This will be a senior living facility. Tell us about this step in the process at the council on the 5th.
Yeah, so this is the northwest corner of 101 and Bass Lake Road, just kind of due south of Lord of Life Church there, kind of on the hard corner. Havenwood of Maple Grove, this is a senior housing facility, has a continuum of care units typed to it, some memory care and assisted living. A lot of amenities on site, so kind of a full service facility there on the corner. They do anticipate that kind of north and east of this building there would be another outlot there that could be developed, and they're proposing to do a daycare there. That'll come back before the council at a future date, but this really was to allow this project to move forward. This included concept stage, development stage, and dealt with the plat as well, and they're hoping to get going in the ground yet this fall. So we'll likely see some activity there on that northwest corner soon.
Busy part of the city.
Yes.
Let's hop back up to the other busy part is the Grove area, and let's talk about some apartments that are planned there.
Yep.
This is along 99th Avenue.
Yeah, so this is a site that's just directly behind what will be the Hy-Vee store there up at 99th and Maple Grove Parkway. When Hy-Vee came in, part of their concept plan was, the store, and then to have these apartments that would live kind of right between the M Health building and the Hy-Vee building. So draws its access off of 99th. We've got, this one is about 160 units there. Really nice enclave development project. Kind of a higher level of amenity in this one, the pool on site and common areas, those kinds of things, gaming rooms, those kinds of things within the building. So looking forward to this one getting going. I think they plan to get in the ground yet this fall as well.
All right, so those are the development items that are moving through the process. Here's a few that are starting in the process that we'll be talking about in the future as well, and these are going before the Planning Commission would be my guess. First, we've got some grand openings to mention, so some that are already through into the final stages. Tell us about the 2 new spots in town.
Yeah, so Layla and Lavender is a new shop that's opened up over at the shops at Arbor Lakes, so that's a nice addition. They're going to be doing a ribbon cutting grand opening on Thursday afternoon, August 8th, so coming up here quick at 1:30 in the afternoon. And then Love That Olive, which is an existing business here in Maple Grove. They've joined the I-94 West Chamber, so they're kind of doing a grand reopening, so that'll be at 2 o'clock over there at Love That Olive. So if you haven't been over there in a while, it's just a great opportunity. They're going to be doing some sampling of their products and inviting folks in to take a look. So 2 o'clock on August 8th for that one.
2 other items from community development to touch on. One we've mentioned a few times is a community forum on race book club, and this is coming out of the development area, and Joe Holgaboom is very involved in this. What are they looking at to do next? Yeah,
so we're just continuing that discussion. The book that was selected was it's a good time for the truth, and so it's really a collection of essays, and so they've picked out 3 or 4 different essays to read each time and then get together coming up with that. I think the book club is scheduled to meet again next week. Information's available on our website, or you can reach out to the front desk at City Hall and get some information about where they're meeting. I think this one is going to be held over in Brooklyn Park, I think, at a Caribou Coffee over there. So it's good, the whole notion of this book club thing with the Community Forum on Race was to, keep the discussion going and keep people thinking about these issues in our community and reading about it. And so this is a continuation of the event that happened last March.
All right, and the final item from community development is one moving forward is zoning violations. And a little update on some of the efforts the city's looking at. What specifically are we looking at here?
Yeah, so, and interestingly enough, there's an article in the Star Tribune this past weekend that really highlighted this issue for cities kind of dealing with what sometimes gets to be some long-standing code enforcement issues in neighborhoods that really become a tough issue for, the neighbors that live there. So, and we have a few of those that we've been dealing with over the years, and so we're just looking at different tools that we might deploy to help us deal with those more effectively. A lot of times under current, code and with the law, the courts are often the remedy for those types of violations, which sometimes just doesn't seem like the appropriate venue to be reviewing or resolving those conflicts. So we're going to be looking at that and thinking about what different tools we might bring to the table. But we are taking a little bit more active approach on responding to code enforcement issues. Summer, of course, is the high time for those things. We're taking a look in our commercial districts. Some of our more visible properties that maybe have fallen into a bit of decline, we're looking at those and trying to deal with those property owners. So this will be an item that you'll see come back before the council in the coming months.
And is this something that's being discussed on a bigger level than just Maple Grove? potentially the League
Yeah.
of Minnesota Cities or the National League of Cities? Are these topics that they are looking at?
Yeah, and I think, there are some cities that have very sophisticated, sometimes even proactive code enforcement programs. On the residential side, we are a reactive city. We respond to complaints for code enforcement. So I think every city does it a little bit differently
Right.
and deploys different tools, but certainly there's resources out there to help us through this process with the league, and then looking at, at some of those other cities that were noted in that Star Tribune article as well.
All right, we'll
Yep.
keep you up to date on that. So with that item, we are about at the halfway point of the meeting. Now we move on to a couple things related to transportation, which took some time to talk
Yes,
about. The
yes.
first is the noise walls along I-94. As this process has moved ahead, we've talked about it a few times of
Yes.
some of the decisions that have had to been made, and some final decisions were made
Yep.
on August 5th. Tell us about those.
Yeah, so we have been working with MnDOT on the noise walls. First, there was kind of a lengthy selection process that is done. It's kind of a federal process that you have to go through to determine and the warrants for sound walls and whether they would be constructed. But they because they're making these improvements along the federal highway system, they have to go through that process to understand the noise impacts. So we have 4 new walls that'll be going in Maple Grove as they move through this project over the next 2 summers, 2020, 2021. And so our job was to really work with MnDOT to determine what those walls would look like. They're changing the style of those walls. You'll see a lot up in this northwest area that's more of a wood style, and some of them, the paint is peeling, and some of them are not looking so great anymore. So they're shifting away from that wood style construction to a more of a absorbative concrete style development. So the wall pattern that was selected on Monday night really is kind of an ashlar stone at the bottom, and then more of a flat panel at the top, and it'll have kind of a nice cornice at the top. The questions or the design items that we wanted to run through the council and get their feedback and their decision on was we had the opportunity to add some community identity components to that. So the decision was made to add kind of the leaf, and it'll be at the entry ramps. Kind of reduce driver distraction, but really when you're sitting at that ramp, that entrance ramp, or coming off or getting on the freeway, kind of notes, the maple leaf, and then at those entry ramp locations, it'll say Maple Grove on there. So some nice community identity pieces there. We did talk about the use of some acrylic panels as they would frame up Rice Lake. The walls will kind of come in on either side of Rice Lake there, but given some of the cost considerations and the long-term maintenance of those, the decision was made not to proceed with those acrylic walls. So it's really just kind of that ashlar stone design, and then a buff color to match the bridges that are in town, and then adding those accent leaves and that community identity at the ramp. So some process. We've been working on this noise wall thing for quite some time.
Yes.
So this kind of brings it to close, which was kind of that final piece as they move into what really is kind of that construction phase of that project.
And let's talk about that construction phase. So
Yeah.
Kim gave a little bit of an update of what was proposed and
Yep.
what is happening right now. Where
Yeah.
are we with the project at this point and coming up this summer and fall?
Yeah, so they're working on doing some of that shoulder widening, shoulder strengthening work. If you're out on the corridor in the evenings right now after 7 p.m. till about 5 a.m., they are working. There's some lane shifts, lane closures, those kinds of things. This week they've been primarily in the westbound lanes, but I know they'll be shifting back and forth. So best probably to go take a look at the MnDOT site and see what's going on out there. But they are trying to limit that work to the overnight hours to reduce the impacts on traffic. But yeah, that work will continue here probably through the end of the construction season. And then next spring, they'll get going in earnest on this pavement replacement program through Maple Grove.
All right, keep
Yep.
your eyes open as you travel through that area. One other note as far as construction to talk about,
Yeah.
there's some construction not happening in Maple Grove, but in neighboring cities that impacts the city of Maple Grove and how people get around town. And there was quite a discussion at the meeting about that and an update. Give us the nutshell version of that.
Yeah, so Dayton has a couple different projects underway, infrastructure projects and then some road reconstruction projects, and it's caused the closure of Rush Creek Parkway, which serves some of those development areas on the southern end of Dayton and out to Fernbrook, which then flows
Right.
south to Maple Grove. So that access point was closed, as well as 117th Avenue to the north of there is under construction. So it really kind of limited some of their detour options for those closures. You know, I think Territorial Road becomes a likely suspect for
Yes.
that. We had some public safety concerns about rerouting all the traffic over through Territorial over to Fernbrook there at that intersection. You know, we recently reinvested in that road kind of in its current status. We didn't add turn lanes or additional shouldering. It was really more of a pavement project. So we had some concerns about rerouting that volume of traffic, and particularly the truck traffic that might come there. So Dayton has posted 2 new detours. One brings you out Territorial on the west side down to 81. Kind of a difficult left-hand turn there during the high peaks of traffic times of the day. Or people can go north up to 125th, and that brings you back over to Fernbrook as well. We had posted a soft closure there on Territorial. It really wasn't being honored, and so we've been observing traffic out there and speeds and those kinds of things. And so the council continued to have public safety concerns there and voted to implement kind of a hard closure there. It's something our engineering department had been working on and working towards. So that will be going into place here probably the end of the week. We're working with the city of Dayton, making sure they're aware, working with police and fire so they understand where that closure would be in place. But we're really hoping these projects up in Dayton can get completed in a quick time frame and allow some additional roads to be opened, potentially that sewer project that caused the Rush Creek Parkway closure to get done in quick order if the weather cooperates with us
hope
this
so.
fall here. But people should note that there will be a change up there on Territorial Road in Maple Grove.
Okay, very good. Final item was Heidi's update, a few things coming up in the city, and one was National Night Out, which happened on Tuesday after the Monday meeting. We'll talk about that in just a minute and what a success it was. A couple other things coming up. Botno Ridge, they are going to have an open house on their latest edition. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this is the next building that's coming online there. This is that workforce apartment housing project, kind of just west of Hemlock, north of Elm Creek Boulevard over there, or I should say north of Arbor Lakes Parkway. John Duffy is doing this project, Botno Ridge, and they're doing an open house from 2 to 5:30 on the afternoon of August 15th, and they're going to have some guests there from the state of Minnesota. There was some Minnesota Housing Finance Agency funding in this project and some tax credits that went into this. We provide some waivers of permit fees and park dedication, those kinds of things for these projects that are workforce in nature. So open house in the afternoon, and then the commissioner, hopefully the housing commissioner will be out to visit, and so we'll hope to get some council and staff out there to visit with them at this time. But yeah, another 50 units. They have another building to do yet in the future. That would be another 50 units, so kind of rounding out that project out there.
Another item was the budget process, and you've been at it at a staff level for some time now, but now it really ramps up for the council level. What are the steps of the process now?
Yeah, so we finish up audit in April. We get going on the budget for next year in May, so it's kind of, we lead in from one year to the next. So we've been working internally on budget since early spring. We're ready to bring that budget proposal to the council here on August 19th in a work session setting, and we need to set our preliminary levy with the county by September 30th, so we still have a bit of time. Depending on how the discussion goes on the 19th, we'll probably bring our preliminary levy forward at the first meeting in September. Leaves another meeting if we need to shift things around or if there's further discussion, but planning for a work session that afternoon of August 19th.
All right, final item was state bonding tour, and you might remember the two projects the city's been looking at. Coming up in early September, you're going to have a chance to have some people get an up-close look. Yeah,
so we are pleased to be part of the state bonding tour. They'll be coming back through town on the afternoon of September 6th. They're going to take a look at the 610 project out there and that extension that needs to happen, as well as the North Metro Range expansion that afternoon. So we really want to thank Representative Bonner, our local representatives, Christian Robbins for helping us with this one, getting us on this bonding tour, and we'll be out there. It's a quick visit. They're probably in and out of town in about 40 minutes, so we have a quick amount of time to present our case.
All right, we'll update you on that as well. So that in about 19 minutes is the 2.5-hour meeting from August 5th. We'll have the next meeting date for you in just a couple minutes. But let's hop to some other things happening in town. Quite a bit going on. One is the photo contest, and it seems that everyone in town turned in a photo.
Yeah, so we had 447 photos submitted from about 105 photographers, and then over 7,000 votes cast to select the viewer's choice. So a lot of participation in this one. The winning photographers will be coming forward to the September 16th council meeting for recognition, and the judging will be going on over the next month.
Very good. True sign of fall. Getting a little bit closer here is State Fair buses.
Yes.
That's one of the busing updates. Give us a little transit update here in August.
Yeah, so we will be having State Fair service on the weekends, so that's Saturday, Sunday, and then Labor Day weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Okay.
A lot of times people think that Fridays might be included, but we run our commuter service to downtown Monday through Friday, so we only service on the weekends to get down there. And just to note, there is still some work being done around the Arbor Lakes Transit Station down there. Hopefully finishing up within the next few weeks here, but kind of repaving some of those entry points. So if you're coming down there, just pay attention for some lane shifts and whatnot.
Information about that on the city's website. Now this is the day after National Night Out, so again we're keeping you up here, but you're going to get home and rest soon after a very busy night. So give us the numbers.
Yeah, 207 parties this year. The goal was 200, so police department did a really great job in getting the neighborhoods out. So, and we want to we mentioned the Boston Scientific expansion earlier tonight, but they provide support to this event. They brought snacks for everybody. The groups that go out, they had those available at City Hall prior to us going out. And then during the day, the picnic over at the Community Center Costco provides $1,000 towards that lunch, all the food that's provided there. So we really want to thank our community partners for their participation in this. But all in all, a great night out. You know, I was able to get through about 7 parties. I was out with Captain Adam Lindquist and our new Osseo area schools superintendent Corey McIntyre. So it was a great evening, and we had a lot of great visits with some great neighbors.
Hats off to all the people that had the parties in their neighborhoods. A couple items related to public safety we want to touch on. We've got a academy coming up in the police department, and then we're looking for people to join Explorer programs. Tell us about those 3 items in public safety.
So we got the Citizens Police Academy coming up here starting in October. It runs for 11 Tuesdays starting October 1st, and if you haven't had an opportunity to check this out, it's a great program. It's offered free of charge to Maple Grove residents, students, business owners, and the applications are available on our website. We're also looking for new police explorers and fire explorers. The Police Explorer program is for young men and women ages 14 to 21, interested in learning about policing, law enforcement careers, and they meet every Monday at 6 p.m. at the police department. And then our Fire Explorer program, about the same age range. It's focused on ages 15 to 21, and this is teaching young folks about fire service skills and potentially interest in the fire service. And all that information is available on our website. The Fire Explorers actually meet twice a month, the 2nd and 4th Sundays at 6 p.m. at the Fire Station 2 there on Maple Knoll Way. So information available at both these opportunities, as well as the Police Academy on our website.
Great opportunity for adults to learn through the Academy, and for the youth to get involved through some of those Explorer programs. All right, summer fun is happening in Maple Grove. We're going to take you on a quick tour of some of the hot items that happen, and one is always the market, and they have something very special coming up.
Yeah, it's National Farmers Market Week, August 4th to the 10th. So this week, August 8th, we'll be celebrating that, and so there'll be some special events out there. We'll still have the live music and the frequent shopper program. Market's open from 3 to 7 outside the community center.
All right, let's take you to the beach over to Weaver Lake, and it's hard to believe that we're talking about when it might close pretty soon. Give us an update on the lake.
Yeah, August 18th, we have the beach is open through that date, and Once the swimming is done, there's still lots to be enjoyed out there at the park with tennis, ball fields, basketball. So give a visit out to Weaver Lake.
All right, and for indoor swimmers or outdoor swimmers and indoor type of variety, the community center outdoor pool still open. That goes till when?
Open through Labor Day,
Okay.
and then on the Wild Wednesdays, we continue that through the end of August as well. There's discounted admission and special games and themes for those days.
All right, you may see the Park and Rec department popping up in different places around town, and that's by design. They've got pop-up rec going on.
Yep.
What is coming up, and what does this mean for the people that get involved?
Yeah, so on Wednesdays, we're at Central Park from 4 to 6 p.m., and then we rotate through other city parks on Thursdays from 4 to 6 p.m., and this program will run through mid-August. But it's really our Park and Rec staff going out to the parks and doing Park and Rec programming, so they do kickball, capture the flag, bocce ball, lightning, all kinds of things, and information's available on our website. But if you go to the park, the staff will be in red t-shirts, and they'll have some flags around, so you'll see where the activity areas are in the park.
And I would guess some discussion about what might be coming up for fall, so an
Yes.
opportunity there to learn a little bit about fall activities that you might get a little practice on here during the summer months. Final item is the concert on the lawn. We
Yes.
continue to look forward to this big event in town. What's the latest on tickets, and remind us who's going to be there?
Yeah, September 14th, a Saturday afternoon. Gates will open at 4, music starts at 5. The headliner will be the Gear Daddies. We also have New Power Generation. The 4 on the floor, Cap Perkins will be opening. Food trucks, cold beverages, and just kind of a great evening in the park. So tickets are still available online for that.
All right, we'll take a breath now after 25 minutes. There's your update of what's happening in town in that long council meeting. Heidi, thank you very much for the time
You're
once
welcome.
again. Let's go to some information you need to know. This is the Maple Grove website address there in the middle of the screen. We mentioned a lot about some of the things coming up with Explorers, the Academy, some of the Park and Rec items. You can go there to find out all of that information. Also see some of those great photos. Next council meeting is on Monday, August 19th, 7:30 p.m. at the Government Center. Phone number to the Government Center at the bottom of the screen there, and our viewer response line 533-1710. Questions or comments about the Maple Grove report, we can take them there. Again, for Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks again for joining us.